Hello and welcome to In Case of Emergency. This is a visual novel that was recommended to me by three people at least, one of which is Omar, I think. And unfortunately, I hadn't started it because I had confused it with another one that has like similar initials, I think. And that one went on hiatus to fix certain parts of its UI. And then I automatically thought it was this one, so I was like, oh well, I'll just wait. But then I went back and looked at the itch.io pages of both of them. I'm like, oh wait, this is the wrong one. This is not the one that's on hiatus. Not only that, but I think this one is supposed to finish this year, which is always good because it means that it's gonna have an ending. It's not gonna like run on for years, at least when I start it. But yeah, a little fun fact is that the initials ICOE, their initials for something from over where I live in, and it's very, very funny though. It's funny to me. But anyways, I know nothing about this visual novel except that your choices dictate how the story goes, which I mean, obviously, it's something that always usually happens with visual novels. But there's like three points, I guess, that dictate the way that the story goes, and one is like if you're picking the alpha Chad choices or like the nerdy ones, or there's another one, or like the femi boy. Well, I don't think it's femboy choices, but it's the more femininely inclined or something. But yeah, that's about all I know about the story. I do know it has a tiger, but that's about it. Gee, I wonder who I might pick if there was a route. Hmm. Anyways, well, let's begin and see what this story is all about. It's Dad's funeral. The sky is appropriately miserable. Thick clouds are draped across it, like you're looking out from the inside of a snow globe, wrapped in cotton packing. Only a handful of people have shown up, including you and your sister. Mom hasn't arrived yet. Dad didn't have a lot of friends. You got that from him. Turns out loneliness can be hereditary. Hmm. Of course you should cry. Dad's dead. This is a deeply emotional moment for you, and it's okay to let people know that. In fact, you are obligated to share that you're sad. Mm. You exhale slowly and wait for the tears to fall. You wait. And wait. But nothing seems to be coming. Toxic masculinity much? You know it's okay to cry, right? Don't listen to him. Crying is for pussies, no matter what anyone else says. Actually, crying is for people. You know, people with their irrational emotions. Hmm. I don't know, are you? You can tell someone is a person if they're dumb, sentimental, and illogical. Hmm. What's the alternative? The alternative is to be clever. People say that you can't outrun your feelings, but you can outsmart them. Emotions are distractions that keep people from the real things that matter, like your GPA or video games or being the smartest person in the room. You make a good point. The smartest person at a funeral is never the person who's crying. Satisfied with this conversation, you cross your arms and proudly show the attendees that you are not crying. You can see your sister staring at you from a few feet away. Her tail swishes through the air anxiously. There's a familiar expression on her face. Please don't. Her eyes are the perfect amount of red. She looks like she's been crying, but not too much. She's sad, but strong. Sensitive, but stable. She always was better at everything than you. Have you seen Mom? No, I thought her flight was scheduled for this morning. It landed a couple hours ago. There was a delay. You don't think this is last Christmas all over again, do you? She turns to you sharply. Of course not. She promised she'd come this time, so she has to. Besides, this is probably the only event she'd be willing to spend in the same room as Dad. She'll be here. She fiddles with a band around her left ring finger, an engagement ring from her fiancé. So, how's Rick? Good. We started taking indoor biking classes together. I think it's been good for our relationship. I mean, really, really good. Uh-huh. That's way too much information. Gross. Not what I meant. She slaps you lightly on the arm. So, you guys are still getting married? Yeah. We had to push back the date because of... well, you know. She gestures at the scene around you. But it's still on for the end of summer. They say that's the new trend anyways. Summer is the new spring? Supposedly. That's better for you, isn't it? That way you can come after you graduate. Speaking of which, how's school going? You're missing finals week of your senior year right now. You're pretty sure you're going to fail a class and be denied your degree. I'm missing finals week, so not great. But I've already calculated what grades I need to pass my classes, so we'll see. Good. Good. What? So... you go first. I was going to say, one thing that I've learned from my relationship is that sometimes it's better not to talk about how you feel. Sometimes you just have to figure it out on your own. Uh-huh. That doesn't sound healthy. She shrugs. Look at what good it brought Mom and Dad. The two of you stare blankly at the dark wood of the casket. It's flanked on either side by a towering bouquet of lilies, like two Marshmallow Man bodyguards of the afterlife. Rick bought those flowers, by the way. Wow, still trying to impress Dad from beyond the grave, huh? She shrugs. Maybe, or... Okay, Martha, I have to go now. I'm at my ex-husband's funeral. Yeah, I'll call you back from the hotel room. Don't approve the budget without me. Mom walks up to the two of you, suitcase in one hand and her phone in the other. Hi, kids. Ran into traffic from the airport. You know how it is. How's your father? Dead, I think. Well, besides that, I mean, how'd the old man go anyways? The coroner said that it was a heart attack, just keeled over one day at work, and that was it. Apparently, I was his emergency contact. I hope that's not your eulogy. Speaking of which, how's yours coming along, Kieran? You fish out your phone from your pocket and flip through your notes. You clear your throat. I never really knew, Dad. You can't open a eulogy with something like that. What? Why not? It's a bit of a bummer. You open your mouth for a rebuttal, but she beats you to it. Even if it is true. So, what, I should lie at Dad's funeral? That's what I would do. Do you have something prepared, Mom? Oh no, there were specific instructions in his will that I not be allowed to speak at his funeral. But don't worry, I had the same in mind. Looks like I won't be needing them after all. Kira, what did you write? Kira raises an eyebrow at you. You're not stealing my speech. Okay. How about this? Dad? Loved unconditionally, pushed me to be the best I could be, was someone no one knew very well. I actually went through these before I started reading this, and they're all kind of bummers. But I think I'm gonna go with this one. Dad had an abundance of love in his heart. He cared a lot. Whenever I had a bad day at school, he was always there with a mug of hot chocolate and cookies. I don't know how he knew. If I didn't want to talk, there was always a plate of something waiting outside my door. He was a crier too. He always cried at the end of sad movies. And romantic ones. And funny ones. It was endings that made him cry. I think that's why he worked so hard to show us how much he cared all the time. Maybe he was afraid of what would happen when it was all over. And looking back, maybe he goddamn should have been. Because Dad died alone, with no friends and family, despite all the love he gave. He stretched his heart thin. And for what? A fucking heart attack. And all he's left to me are some baseball cards, a genetic predisposition to coronary heart disease, and an empty heart. So, thanks a lot, Dad. Kira stares at you like you've gone insane. Mom looks less impressed. Maybe we should let Kira go first? In case of emergency. 2 months later. So, the four of you are working as a group? Yes? Cedric sends a curious but polite look your way. He was your best friend for most of your childhood. You haven't talked much since entering college. You're acutely aware that everyone in the group appears to know each other except you. The old wolf looks at you over his circular glasses. You're new. It's usually these three troublemakers together. Is that why you made this a 4-person project? That blows. Remember how much fun we had last summer, Rom? Yes. I remember your final presentation on pre-post modern art in the Age of Man. Very fascinating. I also remember spending an hour after class cleaning up after your whipped cream jizz cannon. The professor using the room in the fall came back to a brand new ant super colony based in their classroom. I told you we should have used toothpaste. Just to clarify, I worked on the slides, not the performance portion. Which is why I have chosen a different assignment this summer for your life skills education requirement. There will be no presentation at the end of this session. Instead, I will ask that the four of you think beyond yourselves. Learn to take care of another being. Return the object unharmed at the end of the 4 weeks, and you will pass a major portion of this class. Are you ready? He holds out a black plastic bag, its contents just above everyone's line of sight. So, who wants to pick? I don't care. Why don't we let Kieran pick? Cedric looks at you expectantly, and you shrug. Why not? The professor holds out the bag to you. Inside, your hands grasp around something bumpy and rubbery. If he picks something lame, can I swap groups? Sure, if you can find a group willing to take you. No one's going to be swapping groups, okay? You pull out the item in your hands and show it to the group. Clenched in your fist is a hot pink dildo, with realistic veins bulging along its shaft, balls and all. It's really quite graphic. Ah, the dick, a fascinating object for inquiry and care. Across the room, a group of girls giggle in your direction. The 3 other members of your group stare at it slack-jawed. You're still holding it in your iron grip. Play it cool, you've seen plenty of dicks in your lifetime. Play it cool, you haven't seen that many dicks in your lifetime. Why lie? Relax, guys, it's just a dildo. Rom, I thought you said the summer class was going to be different. Is this for me? This has to be a punishment for the crap you pulled. I can assure you that everything in this bag is a real and valid assignment. So, when you say you want us to return it unharmed, does that mean unused? Okay, so we're going to make sure that Luke takes the dick last. If Luke is going last, I want it second to last. Well, I can't take it this week because I'm busy. The three of them turn to you expectingly. You kind of wish people would stop doing that. Sure, I'll take it the first week. Wonderful. However you gentlemen decide to divide up the workload, make sure you do so evenly. The goal is not only to care for the object, but to interrogate your relationship to it. So, is it supposed to be a dick or a dildo? But if we're supposed to take care of it, aren't we doing the opposite of interrogating that relationship? Doesn't an assignment foreclose the multitude of ways I could interact with the object? Do not fuck our final project. Well, I'll leave you 4B. If you need to get in contact with me outside of the class, remember, do not email me. I will not respond to any emails or telephone calls. I have cut every wire in my office and cannot read any of your messages. Please come to my office hours or slide a note under my door. I'll be available after class for the next couple of hours. Good luck. Okay, that's weird. The dick is securely zipped in your backpack alongside your laptop and notebooks. It's a shame it's summer. You could have wrapped it in a jacket for more padding. At least the weather is a minor consolation for being stuck here another 4 weeks. You might even go down to the beach and enjoy your last moments before you're officially no longer a college student. Just you and the real world, raw dogging it on your hands and knees for the job search, bent over the kitchen counter for minimum wage. Not that taking dicks is a negative thing, of course, it's just a patriarchal turn of phrase. The point is, yikes. You're so lost in thought that you don't notice the other person approaching. You're knocked onto your ass and flat on your back. You can actually feel something stiff hit your tailbone through the canvas of your bag. It's called your coccyx. You remember it because it sounds like... Oh shit, was it on you right now? What? The dick. It takes you a minute to register what's going on. Right. The dick. For class. Yeah, I have it. It's in my bag, which I landed on. Shit! You frantically unzip your bag and search through your belongings. It's easy enough to locate the massive hot pink dildo in your backpack. After all, it's not like you to keep a whole library of dildos in there. It would be crazy if you just kept pulling a rainbow of sex toys out of like a clown pulling a handkerchief. Why would you even carry around that many dildos? Maybe if you were a clown and that was part of your act. No, that would get you arrested. This is a really interesting train of thought. Share this thought with West? What? No, discard this thought. That's a really weird thought. Why in the world would you bring this up with a guy you just met? Clown cocks? Are you kidding me? Honk honk, bitch. The only clown here is you. Sufficiently humbled, you wordlessly turn towards your bag. You pull the dick from your backpack. Its overall structure has been unmarred by your fall, but there's clearly a streak of black where it's been scraped against a book or old handout. Oh. Yeah. We can fix this, right? You lick your thumb and rub at the blotch. No luck. Here, let me see. Wes takes the dick and spits on it. Oh. Okay. Sure. Why not? He's definitely trying to rub something out of it. The pad of his fingers swipe across the top of the head. Yeah. You definitely need to get laid. Probably need soap for this bad boy. He waggles at it in front of you and extends a hand to help you up. You're less using him for leverage as much as Wes is single-handedly lifting you to your feet, causing his biceps to bulge under his coat. Wes walks with you to the convenience store on campus. You had suggested taking the dick to a bathroom, but Wes insisted that you need the good stuff. The bell chime tinkles as you enter. You're blasted by the smell of refrigerated sandwiches and overripe fruit. Wes guides you over to the household items aisle, where he picks up a bottle of heavy-duty dishwashing liquid. This is the stuff. Liftol? What makes this different from Greeno or Adverse? Actually, Liftol and Greeno are owned by the same parent company, Liftol Enterprises. Liftol also produces laundry detergent, lotion, and shampoo, among other products. Dunno, Liftol pretty much already owns both of them. Come on. He tosses you the bottle. You nearly fumble the catch, but recover just in time. You successfully manage not to loudly drop a bottle of dishwashing detergent in the middle of a store. Wes is right behind you as you make your way to the cash register, mounds of snacks overflowing from his arms. There's a bored-looking student at the register. You hand her your student ID and credit card. She furrows her brow and taps at the screen a couple of times. It says here your card is declined. Oh, if you add the 2% student discount... No, your student ID is declined too. Neither of them work. It says here you're an alumni. Wes raises an eyebrow. You lean in closer over the counter. Yeah, I was supposed to graduate last semester, but I didn't. That's why I'm here. Right now. She shrugs. Not her problem. The machine gets all its information from the registrar. It says what it says. Something gently elbows you aside from behind. Wes pushes past you with his bags of snacks, Parmesan and jalapeno crisps, packs of almonds and peanut butter cups, and dumps his haul on the counter. The soap, too. He pulls out several crisp 20s and slides them towards the cashier. That should be enough, right? Keep the change. The cashier blinks in surprise, nods, and Wes scoops up his goods and jerks his head towards the soap. Thanks? He's already heading out the door. You awkwardly nod to the cashier and race after him. Hey, I can pay you back for the soap if you want. It's just one thing of dish detergent, man. It's, what, $20? It is definitely not $20. It's closer to $5.25 with tax. So, where are you headed? Need a lift? Why is he being so nice to me? Yes, please. Yeah, I could use a ride, thanks. I should probably stop by the registrar and get my student status fixed. Wes's sleek black electric car is aggressively ostentatious in its subtlety. He drops you off just outside the career center. You can hear arguing as you approach. So, if you could just talk to Dave for me? No, Luke, I am not going to ask Professor Gavin Thorne to bump your A- to an A. I'm not saying you should ask him. I'm not going to tell the professor to raise your grade. We can't do that here. You have to talk to him yourself. I told you, Dave hates my guts. He's threatened by my intellect. I swear to God. Luke's ears perk up as he sees you approach. Kieran, good to see you. Bureaucracy, am I right? Cowardly non-choice. Nah, I disagree. I think it's actually pretty reasonable. Luke either deliberately misunderstands you or isn't listening. That's what I'm saying. I can't believe that Dave would... Professor Gavin Thorne. Put me down for an A-. A disgrace. No, that's not so bad. It could be worse. Look at my grades, all A's and one aberrant A-. But seems more likely that all the other A's are mistakes, or that the mistake is the one outliner. I think it's most likely that you didn't do so great in one class. Everyone makes mistakes. Luke looks grossly offended, either by the concept of making a mistake or his inclusion within the category of everyone. Emphasize? Empathize? Flex. Empathize. Flex. I mean, I had a perfect GPA. The adamant grimaces. Luke's eyebrows raise. Had? Yeah, but then I failed the class, so here I am. Making up the life skills requirement over the summer. Without student status for a discount. There's an unreadable expression on Luke's face. It's definitely disdain. What happened to you? Did a professor set out to screw you over too? No, actually, he hated that you were too good for him. Well, he was compensating for something missing in his own life by going on a power trip. Actually, my dad died. The office grows silent. The administrator becomes suddenly enthralled by her computer screen. She runs her thumb on the corner of the monitor to remove a smudge. Oh. My parents are divorced. He's trying to empathize with you. Maybe. Yeah, mine too. The air conditioning in the room is actually really loud. In a back office, someone coughs. A toilet flushes just down the hall. Maybe it's for the best. No need to find out how much emotional labor you can extract from the people around you. So, is there something? I need to fix my student status. It says I graduated, but I didn't. You can practically see her sag with relief, something she can actually do. Of course. Do you have your diploma? With me? Right now? No, because I didn't actually graduate. Well, you'll need to return your diploma before I can make any changes. Okay, but I don't have one. Well, I can print one for you. Then once you return it, you can make the appropriate changes to your status. You think you see Luke roll his eyes. So you need to print my non-existent diploma so that you can fix that it doesn't exist? Oh, it does exist, just virtually. But you can't return a virtual diploma, so you need to print it out first. Okay, let's print it then. Great, cash or check? I'm sorry? Cash or check, it costs $50 to print your diploma. Luke snorts behind you. He mutters something that sounds like typical. But I don't actually need the diploma, I just need to return it to fix a mistake on my record. Right, and you need to have the diploma in order to return it. This logic seems airtight to me. I don't have $50 on me. Well, you can check out our postgraduate career resources next door. I haven't graduated! And see if there's a job posting that you can apply for. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'll do that. Luke is hot on your heels as you exit the office. Yikes. Any more red tape you could give to school as an overwrapped holiday present? You know whose job you should take? The registrar's. Pretty sure it requires a bachelor's. Which you have, obviously. Not until I pay $50. True. He shrugs it off like it's of no consequence. So, how's the dick? I hate this joke so much. Not so great. I fell and scraped it up a bit. Wow, already? It's a good thing this course is a blow-off class, huh? I didn't need to take it, but I missed hanging out with Rom. I got a couple of other courses I'm taking over the summer. This is my relaxing class. Well, this is the last requirement I'm missing, so I'm only taking this one. Could be a lot worse. At least you'll have time to work a job alongside classes. Luke stops in front of a piece of paper taped to the wall. Now hiring, registrar assistant intern, summer students only. Hey look, this is perfect for you. What's an assistant intern? Am I interning to be an assistant, or am I an assistant to an intern? I don't know. Does it matter? I guess not. It says I need a letter of recommendation though. You know who you should ask? Rom. Rom? Yeah, Professor Abbott, you know. I bet he's still holding office hours. If you run over, you can probably make it in time. You'll show that you're interested in his class and that you're a hustler. A hustler? The hustle is a social construct meant to control the masses by generating dreams and justifying failure. He means that the professor will think you're a hard worker, but you'd rather that he thought that your talent comes to you effortlessly. Sure, I could ask him for a recommendation. Professor Abbott's office is in the basement of Redoubt Hall, tucked away at the very end of the hallway. Just outside his door is a dusty desk, the kind with a little L-shaped table attached to a flimsy plastic chair. It looks like no one has used it in ages. Where the hallway ends, there's a single closed door with an unlit exit sign above it. Someone has taped a piece of paper to its left with the word "No" in permanent marker. No exit. Maybe it used to be a fire escape at some point, but you don't think anyone has done any escaping through it recently. Kieran, it's good to see you. How was your first day of class? Professor Abbott nods when you enter. He wasn't lying about his no emails rule. Unless he's hiding something under the mass of papers strewn about his desk, there's not a single electronic in sight. It was good, thanks. Now is a good time to remember that you've never visited a professor's office in your 4 years at Corinth. Nice place. Every inch of the wall space is covered in overflowing bookshelves. A floral-themed calendar from last year hangs by the window. March, Forget-Me-Nots. It looks like he hasn't changed it in nearly 5 months. On his desk is a framed picture of him, a man and 2 kids. Thank you. So, I know you said that you didn't take emails. I do not. So, I came by to ask for a letter of recommendation for a job I'm applying for. It's, an assistant intern position at the registrar. Are you an intern to an assistant, or an assistant to an intern? I'm not sure. Okay, what do you want me to write in your letter? Just something generic, I think. I guess I haven't been in your class very long. No, you haven't. You're starting to think that the professor may not be the best person to speak to your self-starter attitude and tireless work ethic. How is your object doing? Oh, I mean, my object? It sure is an object. May I see it? Can you, or may... Oh, wait. Grimacing, you reach into your backpack. Hi, Professor Abbott, are you... Cedric abruptly opens a door into the office. He freezes when he sees you. Oh, sorry, I can come back later. You can wait outside. I think there's a desk there. Cedric flushes and disappears as quickly as he entered. This is your chance. Rotate the dick in your hand so that you cover the blemish. Don't try to hide it. Try to hide the scuffed area. There's no point in hiding it. He'll see it eventually. You proudly set your dick on the table. Professor Abbott picks it up and examines it, adjusting his spectacles with the other hand. It seems to be in good... Perhaps not. He gingerly hands it back to you, holding the shaft like you might hold the blades of a scissors. Well, there's still 3 weeks to go. He reclines in his seat. You only need to keep it in good condition for the rest of the class. Yep. Well, if that's all, I'll have your recommendation for you by next week. Send Cedric in after you, will you? Literally in hand, you step out into the basement floor of the Redoubt Hall. Cedric is nowhere to be seen. The desk looks slightly less dusty than before. There might be an ass print on the seat, but it's impossible to know for sure. The sound of a door cracking shut catches your attention. You see Cedric disappear into the no exit door at the end of the hallway. Hey Cedric, wait up! You jog over to the door and give the handle an experimental turn. It opens without resistance. For some reason, it feels like it should have locked behind him. Cedric? Professor Abbott said that you can come in to see him. Your voice echoes through the empty stairwell. A staircase winds down towards the inky darkness, lit only by the remnant light filtering in through the door you hold open. Definitely an OSHA violation. The door starts to creak shut behind you. Oh hell no. Childhood best friend or not, you're not about to get locked in a creepy stairwell for anyone. Wedging one foot between the door and its frame to prevent it from closing fully, you extend your other leg as far as it'll reach. You can straddle the edge of the topmost platform here, your toes dangling just above the first step. Hello? Anybody there? You can barely fit both your hands and the dick around the rail. Maybe if you stretch just a little bit more. Your forward foot slips out from under you, and your makeshift doorstep flies from its door-stopping position. The dick ejects from your hands and ricochets off the wall and down the steps. You have to use both hands to stop yourself from face-planting on the middle landing. The door slams shut behind you. Shit. Run after the dick. You fly down the stairs, hearing the dildo bounce down flight after flight of steps. Man, how deep does the stairwell go? You're sure that you were already in the basement floor of the building. You count one flight, then two, then four, before losing count. It's nearly pitch black now. You can't hear the bounce of the dick anymore, and you don't think that you could see it even if it was here. With luck, you'll probably trip on it and break your neck. What a headline that would make. Just as you consider giving up, you can see a light glowing from one of the floors below. Distantly, you hear festive music and ambient chatter. It's an open door. You can see a grand hall. Seriously, like a capital H hall out of the movies, complete with stained glass windows and 100-foot-tall ceilings. As you cross the threshold, you feel the cold stone of marble below your feet. A rib vault braces the cathedral-like structure, supporting a ceiling decorated with frescoes that are impossible to make out from your vantage point. At the very end of the hall appears to be some kind of congregation. People in old-timey, fancy clothing mill about with goblets, actual goblets, in one hand. What are you doing here? Ugh, Jesus, where did you come from? You shouldn't be here. He's not mad at you. He's... worried? It's fine, I just needed to grab something. We can pretend I never walked in on this costume party. He scrunches up his nose the way he always did when you suggested something he didn't agree with. It's not... What do you even need to grab? Cedric, there you are. The people are waiting. Cedric nearly jumps out of his skin. My liege, I'll be right there. Cedric clearly takes his roleplay very seriously. The older man gives you a curious once-over, maybe because you're the only one not in costume. Wait a minute. Is this your friend, Cedric? I don't think we've met. Remus. The wolf extends his hand for you to take. Take his hand? You push down the rising panic as you take his hand in yours. The pad of his index finger finds your wrist as he shakes, strong, firm, and warm. King Remus, this is my friend who was just leaving. He looks at you meaningfully. Yep. Nah, I'm gonna introduce myself. Kieran, it is good to meet you. Cedric's nose twitches. He's nervous. Kieran, a pleasure to meet you. Remus clasps you on the shoulder once for good measure, his paw heavy on your deltoid. I hope you enjoy your stay. He winks at you, like you're both in on a joke that everyone else is missing. Come on, Cedric, the people need us. Let's give them what they want. Of course, I'll be right there, Your Highness. Cedric sees him off before turning to face you. Hail and well met? Seriously, you shouldn't be here. What's so important that you need to get anyways? I'm going to be honest, I dropped the ball. And its balls. I swear, I just need to grab it and I'll get out of here. I already bought soap, so everything's going to be fine. Soap? Actually, no, I don't want to know. Go get whatever you need to, but make it quick, okay? I'll try to cover for you. Cedric pads away towards the crowd at the end of the hall. You can hear Remus starting a speech in the apse, his voice echoing throughout the assemblage. From the distance, you can barely make out some bits and pieces about farms and refugees and forthcoming disaster. Sounds like trouble in the Shire. Check out the cabinets along the wall. The decorative cabinets on the right are made of thick, sturdy wood. You can actually feel where the knots have been sanded down and lacquered over. Inside is mostly crystal and china diningware, each marked with some kind of royal heraldry. It seems to depict some guy decked out with a crown, sword, shield, and jewelry around his neck. Cool. No though. Of course it would be in the center. There's a bronze statue of a man in the center of the foyer. Taller than you, a dark umber color, and of undistinguished species, he has one foot on a rock and looks heroically off into the distance. It's the guy from the cabinets. A sculpted cape flows over his shoulders and unfurls onto a bronze cast base. Someone has taken great pains to craft tiny metal blades of grass and pebbles by his feet. Just behind his back foot is a large boulder with a sword embedded in it. The sword doesn't look like the rest of the sculpture, actually. It looks like a real blade made of steel and silver. It's cool, but at the end of the day, it's not the sword you're looking for. You're about to resign yourself to another faded class when something hot pink catches your eye. Jackpot. The deck has rolled under one of the cabinets, far, far back against the wall. You have to get on all fours just to get a good view of it. Gross. It's covered in dust bunnies. You sidle up to it, pressing your face to the floor as you try to wedge your arm under the cabinet. No luck. You can't fit under there, let alone reach the wall. You'd need something long and thin to stick under there. As you get to your feet, you spot Cedric staring at you from the back of the crowd. He shakes his head in a series of minute, terse movements. His eyes dart nervously to the side, and following his gaze, you spy the familiar-looking backs of your classmates, Wes and Luke. Man, did they meet through this stuff? Why didn't Cedric ever tell you that he was joining a Renaissance LARP? You can't help but feel a little betrayed. You flash him a thumbs up. You actually have a great idea. Trending quietly across the hall, you stand in front of the bronze statue with the sword buried in the rock. You reach for its hilt. Cedric is mouthing something at you and making a slicing motion across his neck. You try to read his lips. What is he saying? Kieran, you're totally rad and this is a great idea. You look super strong and hot wielding a sword. Screw the haters. Kieran, the feudal system is really messed up and you should take that sword and lead a rebellion against this cycle of disposition. These are all obviously wrong. He's clearly trying to communicate using a semaphone. Semaphore? Semaphore? That's an F. For feel free to keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, what else could he be trying to say? With that cleared up, you can continue on your very important task. Your hand wraps around the ornate silver handle of the sword. The metal is cold against the pads of your paw, and a blood-red ruby glitters in its pommel. Pull the sword, Krunk. Your muscles tense as you squeeze the hilt of the sword and draw it from the stone. There's a little resistance at first, the steel gripped by the grain of the rock, but then the sword gives in to your pull and rises from its sheath effortlessly. Great, now all you have to do is use it to get the out from under the cabinet. What the fuck? Everyone is staring at you. At the end of the hall, framed by the lights of the stained glass mural, Remus's eyes are wide in surprise. A grin spreads across his face as he raises his paw. Our final champion! And that's where I'm going to leave it for today, because this seems like a natural stopping point. Okay, so... either our protagonist just found himself in a timey-wimey portal and is basically just pulling out the sword and the stone and becoming king or something like that, or something, you know, Renaissance-y. Or he just basically found himself in a medieval thing in which he, I guess, is gonna have to play the part of a knight or something, because he just pulled a sword out of the stone. And I'm assuming that Cedric, Wes, and Luke are, you know, all part of whatever this is. But yeah. So what are your thoughts for the people that have not read the story? So, you know, people that have, do not spoil it. And I have to keep reminding you people of not spoiling things, because there was like a handful of people that were trying to spoil the ending of the, you know, the previous update for Far Beyond the World. So you guys keep your trap shuts. So anyways, write down what you think is happening and who your favorite character is so far. Obviously, I have a preference for Wes, because I like tigers. I like... You know, the funny thing is, I don't like people that are taller than me. But in certain situations, I do. So, like, if it were a tiger person, I'd probably be okay with it. So, they would have to be, like, over 6'1", because I'm 6'1", so, you know, anybody taller than that is usually a no-go for me, but for a certain person who shall remain nameless, who is my height, basically, you know, it's like a yes for him. But most anybody else, it's a no. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in case of emergency. So, again, write down what you think is happening. And yeah, so, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play In Case of Emergency yourself, you can find it over on itch. I will be posting links for the creator's Twitter page if they have one. And if they have a Patreon, I will also post a link to that in the description. And those should include direct links to the itch page, because as you all know, you can't put... well, you should try not to post itch links for furry stuff, because YouTube automatically thinks it's adult content, and that's a bad, you know, thing. So yeah. Anywho, I guess that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.